All right, everybody. Hopefully today audio problems are fixed because I have spent some time working on the microphone and the live streaming software, so hopefully you can hear me fine and I won't see a whole lot of complaints about how bad the audio was. For those of you who watched my live stream last week and you couldn't hear me, I have uploaded an audio fixed version. You can find that on my Patreon page. I also put that link on last week's live stream. That was the one about massage therapy. We're going to be talking a little bit about massage therapy today as well. We'll get to that at the end. First, I wanted to talk about some questions I saw on my video, Hip Flexors Hurt More After Stretching. I think I posted that last week or the week before. And there were a couple comments. Somebody, I don't know how to read this, Dejan Serbia, I guess, said, when I lift my knee, it goes to the side and not straight. I have great external rotation. So in that video, I was talking about being able to do hip flexor lifts. So if you are seated, pretend this leg is just like a chair, and you're just like lifting, doing hip flexion to use the hip flexors instead of stretching them, you're actually strengthening them. This person is saying when they lift, instead of coming straight like this, straight forward like this, it goes out to the side. Like they just can't keep it straight and it just keeps going out. It abducts. And a couple other people said it happens to them too. Blue111 says mine too, right side. And Victoria Monday 2570 also says me too, how do we fix it? I can barely raise it. So I have personally had this problem. It was made much worse by surfing, sitting on a surfboard. You're basically straddling like this. If you ride horses, sometimes if you're a biker, this happens too. If you're doing a lot of squats and deadlifts, this can happen. It's this stuff back here, these muscles back here, in my experience anyway, really pull you out into abduction. You try to go into hip flexion, and instead of getting hip flexion, these muscles are restricting your motion. So then you're going out over here because these guys don't know how to release enough, so they're creating this abduction and trying to fight you. They're creating hip extension, so you can't get hip flexion. So that last person, Victoria, I feel your pain because, yeah, even last year, after several years of just not taking care of my hips and just surfing a lot, I was noticing I couldn't flex my hips properly and I kept getting stuck in abduction. So the fix, I actually posted a video recently. It might have been earlier this week. It was a video to help you improve hip flexion and help with hip impingement. So if you just go back through my videos, you will find one that talks about a gentle stretch to improve hip flexion. And the reason why I recommend this is because this setup, and there's a detailed explanation in the video, this setup helps you free up all of the angles that these muscles are trying to restrict and mess with. So you may need to start off out here because things are just so jammed up and tight, but over time you're going to want to be able to control it and bring it in towards the midline while still being able to create hip flexion. But you have to do this slowly because if you try to do this with a lot of load, one of the methods could be like this. But I find when you start doing it this way, if you haven't really gotten a good feel for it, you're not used to actually feeling the correct muscles from a gentler version, a slower, more mindful version, it's really easy to compensate and then miss the stretches that you need to actually free up this range of motion. I'm saying all of that from personal experience, actual recent personal experience, so hopefully that makes sense to you. Just check out that video. It's gonna help you if you implement that. I do this at least a few times a week now, especially in recent days. I've been noticing if I do any kind of like hamstring, glute exercise, I need to do this probably that same day and probably in the days after. I need to do that to make sure I don't get stuck into this abducted pattern because that pattern stinks. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. if you have that problem too, go check out that gentle, I believe it's called the gentle stretch to improve hip flexion and help with hip impingement. Go find that in my videos. And then I wanted to jump into a story that I got, which talks about the realizations. Those moments when you're like, oh man, I've been doing this totally wrong. This has happened to me many, many, many times in my life, not just with exercise, but with many things in life. And Frank P. Sent in a message yesterday, I think, and I saw it in my inbox, and I thought, oh, this is good learning stuff. So Frank said, I want to share my I get it now moment. Actually, I had more than a couple of those moments. So he's got a list here. We're going to go through them real fast. I think there's 5. Yeah, 5 things. And then a question, which is also a helpful question. So first, I really appreciate what you do. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate that you're watching, and I'm grateful that you are receiving what I'm trying to convey. 2, I realized I was doing so many exercises, excuse me, I realized I was doing so many exercises, stretching, and various other physical activities wrong. So I'm going to pause here because Frank has not detailed what specifically he realized, but I think it's really important to highlight this because I have this realization constantly. And I don't know if there's a way around this other than just repetition and then trying to be humble and mindful. But I have had this same realization many times. I realized it constantly. Recently, I've been trying to learn different soft acrobatic techniques, different like capoeira-esque movements. And the number of times where I've told myself, oh yeah, I got it now, and then realize the next week that no, I didn't actually get it. I was just doing a really terrible butchered version of that exercise. The number of times is like, I can count it on probably, how many people are watching right now? Yeah, all of our hands. And that goes not just for like complicated movements, that goes for simple movements too. Even things like hip flexor stretches, quad stretches, things that I've been showing recently. It's very easy to do them wrong if you're not mindful about them. I personally have made all the mistakes thinking, well, I achieved the end position, but did my body shift to try to achieve it and I didn't notice? Like that's a huge one with hip flexor and quad stretching for me. My body will cheat, it'll kind of twist or it'll abduct the hip a little bit just to avoid the real gnarly, nasty stuff. So you know, Frank is saying, you know, he's realizing he's done so many things wrong. If you haven't yet realized that you've been doing some exercises wrong, you're not doing it correctly. You need to actually really be paying attention because I guarantee you're probably doing something wrong right now. Now, number 3, my mindset was wrong. I thought I could just take pieces of different YouTube instructors and videos and create my own exercise routines. Man, was I wrong. Pretty soon I was so jumbled up and frustrated. I agree and I disagree at the same time. So I think when you are first starting, it is a very good idea to just pick one person, maybe maximum 2, and try to just follow that path and see where it takes you. As you get more experience though, you probably should be creating your own exercise routines. That's how it works more intuitively and more effectively for me in my life. However, if you don't have a large base of knowledge in exercise, in anatomy, it's much harder to be creative. So if you're starting off as a normie, just a normal person who has not studied anatomy, who has not really like spent their free time on the toilet thinking about the anatomy of the hips and legs as it relates to the toilet, or you haven't spent time thinking about the anatomy of your shoulder as it relates to pull-ups or push-ups or whatever, then just you should just find somebody that resonates with you and then just follow that for a bit and see where it goes. With the caveat that if somebody is clearly setting you up to be always dependent on them, you should keep it in mind, at least file it away in the back of your head, and then make sure that you're still aiming for autonomy ultimately. Because if you're not learning your own body, you will run into problems that somebody else will not be able to solve for you because they don't understand your unique specific problems, okay? Which is something I mentioned in that massage therapist live stream last week. So your mindset, I don't think, was wrong. Maybe you just were trying to do too much at once on your own, and maybe now, Frank, you know, you're saying you're trying to be more focused, I think, on what I'm talking about, which is great, but also what I'm talking about may not always be the perfect fit for you. My workouts might not be the exact right fit for you in the future. Just know that, okay? I don't know your body, okay? Number 4, I realized I need to rethink my lifestyle, health, and my goals for myself. Some years back, oh yeah, you found Upright Health on YouTube, and he had joined a live stream program that we had that Trevor was doing. Anyway, rethinking the lifestyle, health, and goals is super important, especially as you get more grown up. I cannot emphasize how important this is enough, because most working adults, you get caught in this idea that, well, I gotta go to work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I need to buy that, It's very easy to get distracted by 100 different things, and if you're not paying close attention, you will get pulled in too many directions and your body will fall apart. I don't think you need to look very far to find examples of that in your own life. Probably 95%, 99% of the adults you know over the age of 35 are being pulled apart in that way because they're being pulled to so many different things and not really trying to focus in on physical health and well-being. I forgot where I just heard this. Oh, I just heard this from a Timber Hawkeye podcast where he shared a story from, I believe, an older woman who had said, you know, of all the things I've lost in my life, the one I miss the most is my health. And hearing that, I was, you know, that resonates with me so much because you cannot buy it back, right? You really cannot buy your health back. So if you're going to sacrifice your health for a lot of things that you can buy, remember that you won't be able to buy the health back. So I think it makes a lot of sense to weigh that in your life decisions. The more you consume, the more you spend, and the more you need to make. If you don't have an easy way to make the money to support the consumption of all this stuff, then you are actually trading your health for those things or for those experiences, whatever it is you want to consume or spend your money on. So yes, to be stronger, to have your body feel better, does require you to really focus in, rethink what's important to you, and then start cutting things that are not important to you. And that's a regular practice. I'm not saying I get this right all the time, right? Like surfing pulled me very, very far away from keeping my body feeling right because it was so, you know, on other levels it was really good for me, but on some levels physically it was definitely not, as I am currently discovering. Anyway, number 5. Frank says, I found your BRB program, that's Body Rebuilding Basics, signed up, and I am now fully immersed in it. Thank you for all you do. You're welcome. I'm glad that you are going through it and learning all the stuff in there. The Body Rebuilding Basics is free for anybody who's watching, so if you go to uprighthealth.com/BRB, it's a free course. I go through so many fundamental things so that you understand how the body works. I give you free workouts in there. I give you case studies so you understand what I'm talking about. in videos like this one, like when I'm talking about hip flexion, abduction, all that stuff. So Frank also wanted to know, he wants to know where to look for terminology for muscle and bone movements, etc. So that's his question. He said, I found it once, but unable to find it again. I believe that's in the Body Rebuilding Basics course. I think I actually talk about all of those. It should be somewhere near the orientation or beginning, where I talk about like hip motions and shoulder motions. If it's not in there, I'd be surprised, because that would be a major blind spot for me. I do know for sure that hip muscle and bone movement is in the Healthy Hips program. I definitely have a lesson on that. Same in the shoulder fix. When you're doing shoulder stuff, there's definitely a lesson that goes through some just very basic anatomy stuff. So if you're a part of either of those programs, you'll find it, Frank, but I'm pretty sure it's in the Body Rebuilding Basics. I'm a little embarrassed to say I can't even remember everything that's in each of my courses, but I'm a human being, I'm not AI, so I just can't remember all the content that I put out there. Just a quick pause to say thank you to PepC123 for a $10 donation. I appreciate it. External rotation exercise cripples me for days every time I try. Is it better to back off or power through? Oh my goodness, such a good question. Okay, I'm gonna pause on my notes here and answer that. So, PepC123, external rotation exercise. I'm guessing it might be the pigeon stretch that you're talking about, because very few people, when talking about external rotation, are talking about strengthening external rotation. So I'm just gonna guess that your story is similar to mine. Every time recently, I think in the last few months, I was doing hip external rotation stretches. It would feel like my butt was just worse, like way worse off. I've been meaning to do a video about this, and I would even limp a little bit, but it would still feel tight. And then I'd try to stretch it some more, and it would still feel tight, and then I'd keep limping. And then when I go to stand up, like if I was sitting down and I go to stand up, oh man, that right butt cheek, that whole right hip area, posterior hip, wouldn't feel so hot. So it wouldn't cripple me, but it was getting there. And if I had kept pushing that direction, it probably would have crippled me. And I've seen that happen to people, which is why I stopped doing that. So here's what's been helping me, and what we have generally suggested when it was just me, or when I had other coaches with me, when we saw people who had this issue, where like a pigeon stretch seemed to have like frozen up the hip, the solution was actually firing these muscles back up, not stretching them more. So I will make a more detailed video on this in the coming days, but basically anything that loads the abductors, these outer hip muscles, so like side leg raises, different angles, using bands. Recently I've had like a band anchored over like this, or here, let me orient it so you are the anchor. So if I have a band going straight there, and then I have it wrapped around my thigh, then when I'm working on this, I'm now strengthening the ability to abduct and externally rotate. That's going to use these muscles quite a bit. And that actually makes the tightness go away. As the strength picks up, everything starts to normalize. I noticed actually when I was doing all these stretches that my right butt cheek, when I first started, my right butt cheek was like clearly smaller than my left one, right? It doesn't require a doctor to test. You just have your hands on your butt. You're like, oh, why is this so deflated and not firm? And why is this one so much different, right? So the right side for me, super deflated. And it's been catching up now. That's a problem I had in the past. It's a problem I allowed to come back and bite me in the butt once again. So look, if these things happen to you, you will experience ups and downs. Don't feel bad about them. This is part of the learning process, and it's part of living. Things go up and down. You gotta learn to understand, learn to listen, and then adjust. Okay? Now, thanks for that question, Pepsi123. All right, back to my notes. So last week I talked about how a massage therapist gave me some insights, gave me his honest opinion, And that helped push me down this path of looking for exercise to help with my hip pain, my knee pain, everything. I was already, looking for that, but I was in a period of my life where I was looking for saviors. I was looking for somebody to just make the pain go away. And there were two comments I actually saw. I was a little reluctant to even mention these comments, but I think there's something valuable in seeing how the human mind works. So in that live stream last week, I talked about this massage therapist. He had 20, at the time, had 20 years of experience. He was also a longtime teacher of multiple styles of massage and bodywork, really skilled, excellent teacher, and a really open, honest, super nice guy. And he told me, hey, like, sometimes you don't really know if massage is helping or not, right? When what he was doing to help me with my hip and knee pain didn't really help, he just said, like, maybe we shouldn't keep smashing around on it. It's hard to tell sometimes whether it's the massage is actually going to help or hurt, okay? And to be clear, I think that is such a noble answer and such an honest answer to hear from somebody who is in that position of authority as a teacher, as somebody who's so experienced. That's like an incredible admission of limitation, right? And recognizing his own limitation, right? And that gave me the motivation, not that alone, but that really helped motivate me to say, okay, I really need to dive into something else. I need to look at exercises. I need to see what's going to help me, because this really might not be the thing. And, I already had so much body work and massage done, and it wasn't fixing my hip. It wasn't fixing my leg. So the lesson I was getting across in that video was, ultimately, you're going to need to save yourself, right? Ultimately, you're going to hit a point, very likely, where you're going to need to take a lot of ownership. Massage can be helpful. I detailed a whole lot of scenarios where that could be helpful. But I did caution that massage by itself may not fix you. And frankly, I don't think it's healthy, and it's potentially a little bit dangerous to get trapped in that thought of, like, this massage is going to fix me. It's going to fix me. It's going to fix me. Okay? And then I mentioned, massage therapists, even if they're well-intentioned, they may be taught to believe that the massage is going to fix everything, that it has the ability to fix everything. And even if that is their honest belief, it may not be the truth for your body. And so you just have to know that. Like, even if you really love a massage therapist who has helped you get great results for some things, that doesn't necessarily mean they can fix everything for you forever. Right? You're very likely going to hit certain issues that only you can fix. Okay, so that was the big message that I had in the last week's video. And then I saw these two comments recently, and they said, one of them says, if the massage therapist was knowledgeable, they would be able to address these situations and aid in their well-being. Massage is only a trap if you don't know what you're doing. Clients come to get answers, and that's what they pay for. If they can't get answers, then go somewhere else. Okay, so again, this is like there's a thing that human minds do, right? Where the way I'm taking this is this person is saying, like, oh yeah, well, massage is good. Maybe the massage therapist was just not qualified. Which I would argue that's probably not the case. Somebody with that much experience, that much teaching experience, probably not the case that there was a lack of knowledge. And again, like, this is such an honest massage therapist, such an honest massage teacher to say, you've come, like, essentially he said to me, you've come to me so that I could help you with this, but I am not sure that this is going to help. Which, perfect, fantastic. If you can get that answer from a massage therapist, that's a great massage therapist that maybe you could see in the future for other things. But it's almost like this commenter, I'm not sure if I'm reading too deeply into this, but it just, the way it read to me is like this person is saying, well, that was an incompetent massage therapist. I disagree. The next comment was really, it's more funny, and it leads into this idea of cognitive dissonance. So this commenter said, so the massage therapist said, sometimes you don't know whether what you're doing is going to help or hurt. Okay, so now this person said, maybe he did understand, and you are just a bit arrogant to think you're the only one to have a deep understanding. Some massage therapists are actually amazing. Okay, so everything I've already said in this video, you have the context of what I've said in that video. That massage therapist, I think, great person, great skills, but the problem was not within the subset of things that massage could help, right? That's what I was saying, and that there are problems like that. For this commenter, the assertion that some problems cannot be helped by massage appears to be in some way threatening. And so the response is a personal attack on me, which this comment made me laugh because I'm not laughing at the person, but this is something that people do all the time, right? If you hear something that challenges some core belief, you come up with weird defenses automatically to try to either negate or create some loopholes, or like the person who said it's a moron, whatever. So I was just reading about cognitive dissonance in the medical world. There's a really great book I just got from the library by Marty Macari. It's called Blind Spots. Highly recommend, where he talks about so many instances in the medical world, well-documented cases over the last several hundred years where doctors, when challenged with evidence even that contradicted their beliefs about who they were or what they were doing, they would just resist. They would destroy careers, destroy reputations in order to maintain the status quo. It's not, and that happens in every industry, right? If you work in an organization of any size, you've probably seen it happen to individuals you know, right? You've seen how people will come up with things to destroy people, right? This, not that this destroys me, but it's basically the same pattern. So why I wanted to point this out is, even if somebody has the best of intentions, it's possible for them to be wrong. It's possible for these types of triggers to happen, right? And it's very easy for us as humans to just like quickly say, well, no, I don't. Before you even explicitly say I don't agree, just say that person's dumb, or in this case, that person's arrogant, right? In this case, it's almost like this person didn't watch the whole live stream. In any case, just know that we as humans have these faults, and it's really important to pay attention to where our biases are, and check how the effects of those biases might be changing our strategies and either giving us good outcomes or bad outcomes, right? So in the case of massage, right, again, like I said last week, there are situations where it can be fabulous. It can be so nice. I mean, I've been doing a lot more massage on my left side of my neck because I realized I was doing this a lot. That's been helping a lot, but that doesn't at all help my right glute, right? Even though my glute feels tight, massage here does not help it at all. The only thing that helps is strengthening it, maybe a tiny bit of like massage to relax it right after I've been working it. But basically, the key here for my right glute is strength. But if I kept going to somebody who truly believed massage was the answer, I'd be getting this rocked day after day after day after day, and I've already seen what happens. It just gets worse. I've done that in the past, so don't need to go down that path again. All right, so again, ultimately, you are going to be responsible for strengthening your body, getting it flexible, getting it functional. Massage is great, but know that everybody's got limits, and nobody is ever going to know your body as well as you. Fair? All right. Now, finally, a message from, and Lucas Oliveira, I think that's 5 rupees. Is there a stretch you think everyone should do daily? What about an exercise? Push-ups, maybe? Yeah, so that's a good question. Thank you for the 5 R's. I don't know what those are. They might be rupees. Actually, that's not the Indian rupee symbol. It's just an R. So I don't know what those are, but thank you very much for the super chat donation. An exercise everyone should do daily. It should be some exercise. I don't know what it is for you. I know for me, I rotate through a number of things daily. Definitely make sure I can touch my toes. Recently, I've been doing a lot more hanging. Push-ups, I don't think I do every day. You know, it's very hard to say there's one thing that everybody should do every day. I would say you should be checking what your body can do every day. And to make that a habit, it's important to have some sort of interest in a movement practice. I think that excites you in some way, whether that's a sport or dance or gardening, some hobby that requires movement, and then breaking it down from there. So like if you were gardening and you can't bend over to touch your toes, that's going to affect you. Maybe you want to work on that every day. If you can't squat down low, you might want to work on that every day. I just don't want to get caught in the idea of saying like everyone should do this exercise this way every day, because like the 28-year-old and the 77-year-old, like you're gonna need to start accessing different movements in different ways depending on your experience with these movements. But you know, making sure you can squat, making sure you're able to touch your toes at whatever level you're currently able to do, and then seeing if you can gradually improve that, you should definitely be doing that every day. I think push-ups, that's a great exercise to be able to do. Some people might be able to tolerate doing push-ups every day, and it's fine. Some people, if they're older, they've never done push-ups before, they're younger, they've never done push-ups before. You want to build safely towards it and build tolerance for it. Like I'm not going to say everyone should do 100 push-ups a day, or like everyone should do 10, because for one person 10 might be too many, and for another person 10 is like way too little. But working on being able to push, being able to pull something, being able to get your own body off the ground, being able to squat, do all those things, like move somewhat every day. There's no perfect exercise, and then if you're already like really immobile, then you might need to access these things in different ways. Some of the videos I did, I think earlier this year with the seniors program, there's a bunch of seniors workouts on YouTube on my channel already. Those are great ways to kind of just get some motion in at progressively harder levels. I think in those videos I did talk about those different levels, so that would be a nice practice for most people to just kind of start doing some regular movement and exercise. Oh, Lucas, it's Brazilian reals. All right, sweet. Obrigado. All right, so I got this one. Okay, yes. So this one's from Margaret. And she is a senior. I'm not going to read her whole message, but some good stuff in here because it just kind of drives home some of the key points that we talked about regarding massage and having other people fix us. All right, so I am 66 years old, 30 on the inside. Yes, nice, love it. I live in New Zealand, parentheses, worst health system in the Western world. I don't, just pause, I'm not familiar with New Zealand's health system, but I'm surprised to hear that you would call it that. I'm not sure what you guys got over there, but I'd be amazed if it's worse than what we have in the United States. So I'll do some, if anybody knows what the deal is there, drop some comments in there. But as far as I knew, I thought basically everybody but the US had a like decently functioning third payer system. This is a big sidebar, but I lived in Germany briefly. I lived in Japan for a year and a half. I was in the UK for a study abroad program. So I've used healthcare systems in a number of different countries, and they were all like universal healthcare systems, and I've used it in the United States, and I gotta say, I've never seen it worse than in the United States. So, in any case, let's see. All the problems began after a dog ran into me at the beach and took me out at full speed. My left knee was dislocated from the force of the right one jamming into the left. Ow, so just like boom, chopped. I landed on my left hip. My husband was worried and tried to help me up. And with that, my dislocated knee popped back in and we hobbled home. So that was 2 years ago. So that was when she was 64. I started having back pain a while later and went to see an acupuncturist for pain relief, but it got steadily worse in the year following. Walking became painful, had an MRI and an X-ray, which showed moderate arthritis in the left hip. The back was properly aligned, but the pain got worse and I switched to a chiropractor specializing in fascia work. So fascia, for those who don't know, it's basically connective tissue that's all over, surrounds your muscles, goes into your muscle. It's, if you've ever messed with chicken, like cooking chicken, you've seen that silvery skin, that's fascia. Anyway, pain got worse. Let's see, went to the chiropractor for fascia work twice a week and then down to once a week for the last year. Started being able to walk with that help, but now I can only walk on 2 crutches and with a lot of pain. Chiropractic treatments only provide minimal and temporary relief, and the pain gets worse in the 3 to 4 days after. So not great. All right, so 2 days ago, I stumbled upon one of your videos, which made me cry because it made so much sense. She must have come across one of my TFL strengthening videos, and she immediately started strengthening them. She said, I'm not great at it yet, but that's to be expected. That's the right answer. That's the right attitude. She says, I think I'm pretty atrophied since all movement is so painful and often brings with it the fascia pain, which when I've heard people describe that, I think a lot of times they're talking about like, it's kind of like a diffuse, it's not like pinpoint, but like diffuse everywhere. Everything I tried had that effect. Horrible fascia pain from the rib cage down to the knees with painful swelling on the inside of the knees too. Things got worse during the COVID pandemic, the lockdown, everything, all these things. She got weaker on painkillers. Okay, long story short, she signed up for the free one. So she signed up for the Body Rebuilding Basics course, again, uprighthealth.com/BRB. And she said it has been so valuable for me already. I will work myself back to functioning with the help of your videos. And the best thing is, so far, the fascias, she puts this in quotes, have been quiet after your exercises. My supportive husband is watching your videos with me and watches what I do, that I do it right, and he does the exercises too. So that's awesome. So one thing I want to highlight here is she's doing these exercises, she's strengthening things. It's not hurting, right? And this is a big sign. This is a sign that I've talked about earlier with that other question about external rotation and the hip being almost crippled, right? If you're doing something that's loosening, like stretching or massage, and it like immediately just feels worse, or like the next day things feel worse and unstable, achy and painful, that's a real good sign to start thinking about strengthening stuff instead. And I know you're thinking, well, but it feels tight. I get it. I go through this all the time too. But that sense of tightness can be very misleading. If it's constantly tight, and it's tight because it's weak, your stretching and your massage will not make it feel better and will make it feel worse. If you're feeling like you're crippling yourself by stretching, you're crippling yourself by massaging a certain point, then you should probably stop. That's when you should have the aha moment that Frank had earlier, one of those aha moments where you go, whoa, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Okay, that's one of the aha moments I had with my own butt, my own right butt cheek. Wait, what am I doing? What do I preach? What have I already observed in my life, with my own body, and with so many other people's bodies? If you're stretching it, and you're massaging it, and that tightness snaps right back in, it's probably a weakness problem. And you need to start bringing blood back to it, need to start strengthening it. So, Margaret says, I am a super strong believer of I will get better. And everything you say makes full sense to me. If for some miracle you have something to add, something I can do, please let me know. Margaret, it sounds like you're already doing all the right stuff. Check out the videos I have for seniors, the little seniors follow-along workouts that are on YouTube. Those should be really helpful. You mentioned New Zealand is very expensive. I don't know, man. I live in California, so we can compare restaurant bills. As a senior, you might want to check out my seniors program. It's currently still name your own price, because you're a senior. Some seniors are on fixed incomes. I don't know how much, what your financial situation is, and I don't really want that to be the limiter of whether or not you use the program, so go check that out. That's at uprighthealth.com/seniors. Yeah, try that out. There's tons of things you can be doing to just build strength, and this goes for all seniors out there. Your body, at some point, it's going to decline, but it doesn't have to decline super rapidly, especially if you do some work on the front end, right? The sooner you start building muscle, the sooner you start getting muscles to work, the slower they degenerate, right? I saw this with my own mom. I've talked about this in other videos. Even in her mid-70s, just doing light basic resistance training made a huge difference to her mobility, quality of life, speed of walking, her balance, and that was with dementia, so it's not like once you're over 65, like that's it, you can't build muscle. Like, is it going to be harder? Yeah. Is it tough to develop the coordination and the strength? Yes. And also, it's really tough if you're not able to walk. It's really tough if you can't pick things up off the floor. It's really tough when you can't get in and out of your car. It's a lot easier to be building strength in a controlled environment with controlled variables, maybe in the comfort of your own home, holding onto a wall, holding onto a chair, building the strength of your body in safe ways so that when you get out into the real world, you can handle the extra variables that are all around you all the time. So Margaret, anyway, your general attitude is spot on. I'm glad you are really taking that in, and yeah, I hope that the journey takes you to some more exciting places and you get out of that pain super soon. All right, so I think that's gonna be it. Let me just check for one more messages. Let's see, Wendy Fernandez. Hi, I'm in Connecticut. I'm 55. My hips are getting really tight and I don't know where to start. So Wendy, I've got, if you go to the Upright Health channel page, you will, and just type in hip stretches, I think you'll find there's a follow along, standing only, you don't even have to get to the ground, standing only hip stretches. And then there should be, if you look up like hip mobility, you should find some follow along workouts there. Those would be the simplest, easiest. You can do them right now. Just go search for them, find them, enjoy them, start working with them. I would also suggest the Body Rebuilding Basics program, just so you get some of the fundamental knowledge that will help you approach your body in a safer, hopefully gentler way, while still challenging it so that it can get stronger in the long run. And it's totally free. So uprighthealth.com/BRB, Body Rebuilding Basics. Yeah, and then you can watch all those videos. I talk about so many different topics in there and just try to get you familiar with some basic safety stuff. And there's free workouts in there as well to help you with your posture, to help you with your legs, your shoulders, all of that. So that would be a great way to start in addition to those YouTube videos that I already mentioned. All right, so that's it for me. I am gonna go practice some dance moves and stretch out my body a little bit. Also gonna upload some things to Patreon, some random director's cut things. Oh, if you wanted the massage live stream with improved audio, I just got all that stuff uploaded on my Patreon page, so you can get that there. The video is free, and I put the audio-only version on the private podcast that's on there. So if you want any of that, patreon.com/uprighthealth. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. Big thanks to Pep C and Lucas. Obrigado. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.